Why do you fear so much the development of a European Parliament and the development of a European democracy which might flow from that?
It must be one or the other, but I admit that in the end this is prejudice. This is the prejudice of what show one belongs to, who one is, and who we are. On European democracy, there are over 2 points. First of all, whether you can have it, and secondly, whether you want it if you can have it. I think people tend to assume too readily that a directly elected parliament means democracy. Of course, it doesn't. The democracy only comes through the party system. The link with the electorate in any parliament is through the party. The party says, we will do this, and the electorate entrusts them with the right to do it. The mere direct election of several score of individuals is not democracy. It may be a travesty of it. And so you come back to the basic question. Do you wish what is now a nation to be a province of a superstate? And no amount of arguing gives you the answer to that. People have to say what they want.
Why is it that your generation, which includes the Conservative Party, most of it, the bulk of British industry, why is it that they are so in favour of remaining in Europe?
Well, why did that generation almost get the question and the answer wrong? In 1936 to 1938, the political truth about people often lies at the bottom of a well, and always the danger in the life of a nation is that it doesn't face the real question in time. We only just faced it in time in 1938-39, and this may be so again. You always have to win your identity ever anew.
But you therefore are in a position of believing that the Conservative Party and the whole of British industry is blind on this question.
Well, the whole of British industry nearly always is blind on the question, but that's the thing one's got to realise about British industrialists. They nearly always are wrong. These are the people who can't even run their own businesses, who have so little foresight that they run British Leyland into the dust, they run Ferranti into the dust. These are the people who are lining up to the government saying, we got it wrong, help us out. But we're expected to believe that they've got it right about the nation. You know, they're not in that sort of business.
Is the party of which you were once a member and of which you say you might one day be a member again, also blind?
That party, you remember, could only be dragged through the hedge by a majority of 8 by being taken into the headmaster's study and lectured in February 1972 with the threat that Ted Heath would dissolve, because the deep underlying instinct, of course, of the Conservative Party, because it is the Conservative Party, is that in the end we are a nation and a self-governing and independent nation. And that's why I warned the Conservative Party that if they are ever parted, if they ever allow this question to part them from the cause of the nation, from identification with the nation as independent, self-governing, parliamentary, they destroy what conservatism's about.
Do you regard the referendum vote on the 5th as final, as binding?
One must never despair of one's country. One must never give up. And I believe that if there is if we stay temporarily in the common market after June, if the government after June doesn't say, well, then we must negotiate ourselves out, there will be such a revulsion in the following year, 2 years or 3 years, when people then do perceive the reality of the sacrifice, that we're not for keeps in the common market, because it's not the nature of Britain, as I believe it is, to be able to belong to that kind of structure.
For you, then, the 5th is by no means the end of the matter.
There should never be a date put to the life of Britain.